What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy P. Skip. Welcome to the best half hour of your entire Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time to get into his course. My squad with me, T-Mac.
Hola.
Chili Will.
Gracias, amigo.
Let's do this. So listen, I don't know if you've been under a rock or anything, but last week we kind of talked about the fight between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. The two of them, Draymond took a week away from the team, wasn't suspended. I think they fined him a little bit of money, but they didn't even say what the fine was, I don't think.
They did not.
I didn't think so. And so Poole and Draymond spoke in front of the team a couple of days ago, and Poole didn't think it was necessary that Draymond get suspension, Spears said. Now, how you gonna say you have to suspend the guy who just fired on you and put you to sleep in front of you? You know, that you shouldn't have put him in that position to do that. Spears added that the Warriors players weren't comfortable levying a suspension on their teammate, and so a unanimous was put in an ominous place and on the coaching staff to make the decision on whether or not Green should be suspended. And with that in mind, Poole and the teammates thought ownership and the front office should decide whether or not Green should be suspended. And there were to be an undisclosed fine. Spears continued, but while Green hasn't been suspended, he's been away from the team for a week. So in a sense, you could maybe even look at that as a suspension, being away from the team. Listen to me. First of all, I don't know about you, but as the person getting hit, who was put to sleep, Jordan Poole, you're gonna ask me in front of the dude who just deboed me whether or not he should be suspended. First of all, I look like a punk on social media. And so I'm not gonna sit up there and look like a punk again in front of him and everybody else. You hit me, you should suspend him. That's not what you do, bro. That should completely,
Even if it's
done.
true.
Even if it's true, that should completely be done by ownership, management, and coaches. Y'all punks for not making a decision.
It was a coward move, a major league coward move.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you even put the team, the players in that situation?
It's indicative, man, of why Draymond Green has been walking around like Debo all these years, because the team refuses to check him. And that was just the latest example of the executive leadership of the team not stepping up to the plate, but handling him with kid gloves, unfortunately. And it turned into a tidal wave that culminated in him knocking out a teammate. Go ahead. Let me interrupt you, Pastor Skip.
No, you good, man. But let's look at this from a corporate situation. Just a corporate. You know a cat's been stealing from the business. You know he's been stealing. You caught him actually putting the money in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
They catch him on camera. They know you saw him. And they look at you and go, so what do you think? You think we ought to fire him? Tell you what, we'll bring him up in front of everybody and all the other employees, and we'll ask, do y'all think we ought to fire
him? Boston coach, they didn't have him on tape. They had word of mouth of him getting somebody draws, and he got suspended for a whole year because he violated team rules. This was a violation of team rules too. Step up to the plate and suspend dude. In addition to that, it did not just happen in a vacuum. Draymond Green, for the past 3 or 4 years, my son and I have labeled him as a dirty player. It's one thing to be passionate and hard-nosed and a tough guy. That's one thing. There's a line that you can cross, and you go beyond that into being dirty. A few years ago, when Draymond Green kicked LeBron James in the nuts, that was dirty. He got suspended for Game 5. Well, had he not missing for Game 5, they probably would have won the job. We don't want to hear that. When LeBron James was down 2 All-Stars, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, that first year they played, We didn't give him no excuses. He just lost in 6 to Golden State. They lost in 7 to his team. Draymond Green was suspended for being a dirty player. Last year's finals, when he was pushing and kicking Jaylen Brown, also evidence of him being a dirty player. Last year's playoffs, when he snatched my man from Memphis Grizzlies down to the ground from his jersey, could have caused serious bodily harm to him, dirty player. This year, what have you done for me lately? Knocked out a teammate of yours and could have broken an orbital bone in his face, could have knocked out his teeth, could have broke your own hand for firing on him. And years ago, when Kermit Washington fired on Rudy Tomjanovich, coach of later on the Rockets winning championships, he got kicked out of the league, and even to this day is persona non grata for that. Draymond Green was let off the hook out of the cowardly nature, to Will's point, of Golden State's front office. He's been a bully inside the locker room, inside the practice facility, and on the court. What more do you want somebody to do? It's almost like the battered wife syndrome. If she's coming to you saying, hey, this cat right here is out of control, give me a restraining order, get him up off me, what you gonna do? Wait till he kill the chick before you do something to him? All the evidence is there. This warranted some sort of substantial penalty due to the severity of the offense. I'll close with this. Everybody that heard, well, hey, this happens sometimes in competitive sports, cats go at it, They just, before we saw the tape, the fact that everybody who saw the tape, male, female, boy, girl, black, white, whatever, was like, whoa, means that it was universally seen as overly egregious, overly aggressive, and it seemed like he had malintent when he did it. It was premeditated, and I don't care what Jordan Poole was talking about. If you can't take nobody ribbing, shut your mouth. You've been the biggest mouth in the NBA trash talking since you've been in the league. Now you got a young upstart cat who won a championship last year, who was pivotal to Golden State winning that championship. He has hardware now. If he does want to brag, about to get this bag, bars, he got the right to say that. If you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. Big mouth. Now somebody giving you a taste of your own medicine. Now you in your feelings. That's punk move. That's out of order. And Draymond should have had a more severe penalty. That's foul. And I don't know if that fissure is going to be able to ever be repaired with that team, despite all the platitudes that Jordan Poole is saying all the right things. He's professional. I got you. But deep down in the heart, it's still some drama and beef there. And somewhere along the line, him or his family, I wouldn't be surprised if they got their lick back on Draymond somewhere down the line. I'll leave it at that.
Man, I thought I was passionate about this. Pastor
Come
Tim,
on, Will.
man, look, all I can say is amen.
Yes, sir.
But this is even a step further. This is assault.
Yes.
That's a crime.
Yeah. Yeah.
They gave what's his name? Adams, a misdemeanor.
Right, Devontae
Adams, a misdemeanor charge because he pushed somebody who walked in his path at his office.
Yes, sir.
This is my office. And you walk in front of me, and all I did was like, man, watch out. They charged this man with a misdemeanor charge because it was assault. This man, just the viciousness and the ferociousness and the aggression that he swung at, he had intent on truly hurting that man.
That's a fact.
He could have killed him. People have gotten killed from punches.
That's right. That's a fact.
He could have killed him. When you talk about the size difference, the weight difference, he could have killed him. That's assault. To me, the police department in San Francisco, wherever they was, should have stepped in and said, hey,
taking you down for questioning, bro. You are under arrest. You got the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against. Yes, sir.
For assault. That's what that is. Other piece of it to me is they suspended the man for one game.
Didn't. They didn't suspend him.
They suspended him for one game for the year that he called Kevin Durant a beat. All he did was call Kevin Durant a beat. He didn't touch Kevin Durant. Right. He didn't swing at Kevin Durant. He just called him a beat. So management at that point, because it was Kevin Durant, felt like he should be suspended for a game. But because it's Jordan Poole, he gets a pass. If he'd have hit Steph Curry like that, what you think would have happened?
He'd be in Cleveland.
If he'd have hit Steve Kerr like that, what you think would have happened?
He'd be in Sacramento. He'd be
Yeah.
gone. He'd be traded.
So the punishment doesn't match the crime.
At all.
Absolutely not.
Basically, Draymond Green got away with it.
Exactly.
On camera, assaulting another citizen at his office, at his workplace, and he got away with it. That's a bad omen. That's a bad omen for the NBA. It really is.
And here's what's really it talks what Draymond Green got away with says so much about the Golden State organization.
Yes.
Where everybody was saying, "Hey, this is a stellar organization. You know, they're top notch. They're the best organization in the league." But you won't deal with a person. You won't deal with somebody who's unruly and won't listen. It'd be different if this was your only issue that you've had. But you got a history of doing this kind of stuff, bro.
Right.
You got a history.
Every year he's at the brink of, if he get one more tech, he's suspended for a game. Every year.
Every year.
Every year. And you're labeled as a dirty player. So here's a couple things I think might happen. I think the league is going to say, because Golden State didn't do anything about it, I'm gonna have the refs do something about it. And tech him every time. If it looked like you was close to somebody, you getting a foul, Draymond. We finna get you off this court.
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Skip. I just want to make a point, but go ahead.
Since you don't want to do anything about it, then we'll do something about it, because we couldn't step in and find you because it was inside your practice facility. Now, had this happened in warm-ups at a game or something, then we could step in. But because it was in your facility, we're allowing you to put out the punishment, and you did nothing.
Well, the thing that also just turned my stomach, two things. The number one thing that turned my stomach was that Draymond Green pretty much threatened the organization in his press conference. He said that if they don't give him a max contract deal and sign him this, they better be prepared to deal with the consequences of a player's behavior if he don't get the contract deal. The organization better be prepared to. He said that LeBron didn't have this problem. Somebody else he named didn't have this problem, you know. And if you think this is going to be an ongoing thing, be prepared to deal with the consequences. How you going to threaten the organization?
Wow.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Hey, if they don't give him a max contract, they better be prepared to deal with the consequences of what might happen.
What's crazy, T-Mac? This was in the midst of his apology.
In the midst of the apology.
Is that right? I couldn't even
This was the apology press conference.
I didn't even watch the apology press conference. I couldn't bring myself to watch it. And now hearing this, and this was part of it, that underscores my dismissal of who dude is. So him to say that on top of what he has been putting out there is totally out of order, and is exhibit Q on him needing to be punished and being dealt with. And so long as they continue to handle him with kid gloves, both the organization and the league, he's probably going to live up to his word and be as detrimental and uncontrollable as he's demonstrated himself to be thus far, which is unacceptable. And hopefully nobody gets maimed or seriously injured by his antics, because we know it certainly won't be because he wasn't trying to do it. It's just been the grace of God that's been covering some players that have kept them from being seriously injured by what he's done thus far. What more evidence do you need? You got the actions and you got the words of him, apparently, that he is out to get jokers.
Let me add that I said it was two things. The second thing was his mama tried to justify what he did to Jordan Poole.
I think I saw some of her comments. Way out of
that right there was sickening. But It explains why he's like he is. Because if you, man, I love my kids to death, but if they wrong, they wrong.
They wrong. Right. Wrong is wrong. Right.
They wrong, they wrong. Now I'm gonna roll with you. I'm gonna support you, but hey, if you wrong, you know you got to deal with the consequences.
I'm gonna call you out on that.
Right. That's it. But for her to support and say that Jordan Poole, in so many words, deserved what he got.
Right.
Man, that's insane.
He provoked her.
Fact.
He provoked him. He provoked him.
He provoked him. Like, come on now.
You know,
Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? How long is this show?
hey.
We might have to move on, man, because we can talk about this for 2 days.
You know what? Because you can't have a standard that's a floating standard. It's either a solid line across or it's not. You know, we do understand that, you know, superstars get different treatment than regular stars. But the bottom line is, first of all, Draymond, you're not super.
Super ain't.
You super not super, bro. So you're getting treatment like you are a Steph Curry, like you are a LeBron James. So you think you're on their level. That's why you're saying that. But, you know, let's flip the script. And this is what I think is really what Golden State did do. I think they said a whole lot more about what they did do than what they didn't do. And that is the Golden State Warriors guard Jordan Poole finalized a 4-year, $124 to $140 million contract. He just signed that. So what they're saying is, we're putting our money in the youth, and they probably told Jordan Poole, don't say nothing, don't make a big deal out of it. We'll make sure you get paid. And we got another year of him, and he's gone. And he ain't getting no extension because you threatened us, and you said what you would do, and you didn't come back contrite after you did what you did. We know who we're dealing with. We've had it with his shenanigans, and I think right after this, he's gone. I think right after this year, when his contract comes up again, I don't think they're looking. If they do, it'll be a sign and trade. But I think Draymond sealed his departure from Golden State. You know,
he punched Jordan Poole and he punched his ticket out of
Golden State. Pretty much. Because let's just be honest.
The double punch.
The money's not going to be there because they're getting ready because they also want to re-sign that center from Memphis.
Yeah, James Wiseman. And they also gave 109 to Andrew Wiggins. They gave him 100 plus too. So right now they're sitting at, you know, close to $100 million over the salary cap.
Quarter of a billion.
Quarter of a billion. Okay, quarter billion. Right. 250 million already.
250 million. 253 million.
Okay.
Right. And they got to trim that. They got to trim it. Hey, sayonara, bro.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: do you think that they because some of the scuttlebutt has been for those that, you know, have been trying to defend Draymond is that, well, hey, you know, he's an integral part of the team. He's the heart and soul, and they can't win a championship without him. Given the emergence of Jordan Poole and some of the other young talent that they have, Kuminga, Wiseman, as has been mentioned, Moody, and, you know, Wiggins stepping up, and Moody, you know what I'm saying? They got some talent. Do you all think if they do get rid of Draymond, as we've kind of delineated in this conversation, that they still have the championship medal to pull it off, even without a Draymond doing what he does on the squad?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because what they needed in that one person, I think they're going to get out of a committee of people.
And they're going to get more offense. Because Draymond, if you want to be looked at in the same breath as a LeBron James and some of these other superstars, you need to start scoring 30 points a game like LeBron James.
Right.
Thanks.
But maybe Draymond has a lot of Dennis Rodman's thinking in him. You know, because remember, as much as Dennis Rodman was a shutdown defender, Draymond's not that. He's a good defender, but he's not shut down. But remember, Rodman was all over the place.
Yeah.
Off the court, he was a basket case. On the court, he was a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Draymond is good on the court, but off the court, you crazy.
Sometimes on the court, crazy too.
Right. And most of the time, Rodman was so strategic in what he did. His stuff was always to get up under an intricate player, was a lot of what his antics was about. And of course, the ref didn't like him doing it, but he did get the effect he wanted from the causes he did. So, for me, you're not the same too, but for some reason, there's some sort of semi-screw loose with both of those cats.
I'm ready to just see Draymond just ride off into the sunset. I done had it with Draymond. With this last move, because y'all know it's a little more personal with us because Jordan Poole is from Milwaukee and he's one of our own.
Exactly.
Right. He's one of our own.
And he's a good kid. And
he's from a good family, and he's always, Jordan Poole, I don't know him personally. But, I've watched him in high school. I've followed his career like I do all of the kids that go to college and pros out of Milwaukee. I follow them all. Jordan Poole has invented himself. They put the man in the D League. He handled that. He came back. He created his own self.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect the work that he put. He changed his body. He got his handles on point.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole deserves the $140 million contract because he not only did he improve himself, he improved their team, and he carried them. He carried that team when Steph and Clay was out for, and Draymond was out for a considerable amount of time. He stepped up and carried the team. So he has earned
him and Gary Payton. Him and Gary Payton II, and both of them ended up getting their bags.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them did. You wanted to say something, T-Mac, before we move on?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, with I guess there's consensus that Draymond is, out of there at least by next year, and that the team is still good enough, have enough talent in the cupboard to still win the championship. Do you think Draymond survives this season in Golden State for the whole season, or will he be gone before the end of the season?
I think he's going to survive.
I think he's survived the season, but he has to opt into he has a player option, I think next year. So they can extend him or he can opt into the player option. I think it's next year. It might be this year, but I think it's next year. And to me, no one's going to pay him. He's not getting another max contract.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no,
because the fans don't like him.
Right. And I think the other piece to this is Draymond's game fits a system.
Yes.
He can't play with everybody. His game doesn't fit with everybody.
Right.
So if he goes to the wrong system, he just went over there to just retire.
Right.
I think they're looking for his player option because it'll be cheaper with his player option to go, we're not giving you the option.
Yeah.
It's best you opt out, bruh. Because you're not getting any money. But listen, we only got a few more minutes. The Packers lose again Sunday. They lost twice in a row to two New York teams. The Jets 2 weeks ago.
Giants.
The Giants 2 weeks ago, and the Jets just Sunday. They dropped down to 3-3. The Packers look bad on all three fronts. The defense looks bad, the offense looks horrible, and special teams look terrible. And supposedly they spent most of their money on, defense this year. But
every year.
But it doesn't look like any of that has panned out for anything. Aaron Rodgers, I think if we had a crystal ball that could go back in time, I would have tried to do a sign and trade with either both Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers, or Aaron Rodgers and kept Davante Adams, because they need help on offense so bad. When Randall Cobb becomes your number one receiver, you're in major trouble.
Fact.
Major. This cat wasn't even playing, and Aaron asked for him to come back. And then he just got injured. You know, so when you have what last year was your third receiver, now is your number one receiver because you got rid of your one and your two. You know, you should have gotten rid of then that big price quarterback. If you knew you were rebuilding, you should have got rid of the quarterback and rebuilt completely with some draft choices and some free agency picks. Because what we're seeing right now, Aaron, if this is going to be your legacy, it is looking terrible from now on. From now on, because you can't produce with the equipment you got. One, you can't scramble. Two, the offensive line is not good enough for you to sit in the pocket. Bakhtiari has to be the most injured cat I've ever met in my entire life. He ain't been on the field in 2 years now?
Yeah.
You know, and then you injured again this year? You just got re-injured? So, you know, at this point, and you ain't that much of a offensive line issue juggernaut that people can't still get to Aaron Rodgers. He still has to do what he can't do, which is scramble. You know, and then you didn't think enough of this team after they paid you all that money to even come into camp to work with these cats, to say, this is how you got to know the velocity that I throw at. You got to know where I throw it. You got to know where I need you to be when these situations come, not figure it out during the season. And so I blame the horrible decision on the emotions of the Packer brass, but I also put this team, how it looks bad, on Aaron Rodgers as well, because you didn't care enough about it to say, now that you gave me this bag that I wanted, then I got to put in some more effort to at least try to get these cats up to speed. And you get on in a press and say, it's not my job to make sure they're good. What do you mean it's not your job, bro? You're the leader. Lead, bro.
Right.
Stop being this diva who's upset because your red bottoms are getting dirty during the game.
Hey.
Yeah, I would have to agree with all of that, Pastor Skip. I think that the Packers right now are looking very questionable, you know, whether they'll even make the playoffs, let alone be a number one seed as we've grown accustomed to them being over these last couple of seasons. I think there are a couple of things going on here. You know, in politics, they have this saying called kicking the can down the road, meaning that there's some tough decisions that you got to make as an elected official and with regards to cuts due to taxes and shared revenue, et cetera, but you try and put it off as long as you can and do patchwork stuff in hopes that somebody else down the road will have to pay that price. When Coach LaFleur first came to the Packers a few seasons ago without, you know, a huge resume, after being an assistant coach on the defensive side, I believe, we were wondering, okay, now what are they going to do with this dude? And, you know, thankfully he had some great seasons, came a couple 13-4s. And as I mentioned, number one seeds in the playoffs, although they weren't able to advance that far, he had, you know, what looked like it was gold. It looked like now, though, that it was fool's gold, and everything that shines and is bright ain't really the real thing.
Well, listen, another great show. Meet us right here, same bat time, same bat channel, for the number one faith-based sports show in the entire world, Into His Courts. We'll see you next week. Have an amazing